A scathing new report from the city claims Mayor de Blasio misused his security detail for his own purposes, and now he's responding.
A pleasant day with a mild night ahead where we're going to see that fog set up again.
And 18 former NBA players, including some well-known names, have been arrested for an alleged scheme involving health insurance fraud. This is News 4 Now for Thursday, October 7th. I'm Adam Cooperstein. Mayor de Blasio now accused of misusing his NYPD security detail. The report from the city's own Department of Investigation cites several instances where the mayor's security detail was used for the personal benefit of de Blasio's children or for political purposes during his presidential campaign. It also concludes that the NYPD official who runs the detail obstructed their investigation. The mayor responded to that report shortly after it was revealed.
But let me be really clear from the beginning, because there's a number of claims in this report, and there's many inconsistencies and inaccuracies.
City Hall called the report unprofessional for not interviewing the city's head of intelligence. 18 former NBA players, including Glen Big Baby Davis and Sebastian Telfair from Brooklyn, have been charged in the Southern District of New York with health insurance fraud. The FBI arrested the former players this morning. They say the healthcare ripoff scheme was run by former Nets player Terrence Williams. Prosecutors say it was a widespread scheme to rip off the NBA's health funds with fake invoices and fraudulent claims to the tune of $4 million. In exchange for allegedly running that fraud scheme, players allegedly kicked back money to Williams. This video from the Bronx is just terrifying. The NYPD is hoping it'll help them find the man who followed a woman into her building and then tried to follow her into her apartment. You see the woman rushing to unlock her door. As the man runs after her, she gets in and just slams it in the nick of time. After a short while, the man just gave up and ran off. Check out this video out of New Jersey where a school bus driver lost control and hit 3 cars. This happened on Glen Avenue in Lakewood, and police say the bus hit an oncoming car before slamming into 2 parked cars. There were a couple dozen students on the bus at the time. Thankfully, not one was injured. First responders say that driver may have suffered some sort of medical emergency. Halloween is being haunted by supply chain issues, just like so many other things. There's a pumpkin shortage right now. Yeah, and it's not because of all the pumpkin lattes. It's due to COVID-related shipping issues and all the extreme weather. So be ready. Fewer pumpkins means higher prices this year. The city is now hosting its first major convention since the start of the pandemic. New York Comic Con kicked off at the Javits Center Thursday morning. The event was canceled last year because of COVID, and fans are very happy to have it back.
This is huge. This is one of the biggest conventions in the world, and I am so glad that I could be here when it was bouncing back from the pandemic.
This year, all attendees ages 12 and up have to show proof of vaccination, while younger guests will need to show proof of a negative COVID test.
Hi there, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Maria LaRosa. Got a chance to warm up a little bit today. Finally got to see more sun than clouds, so it's going to be a nice evening. Temperatures staying near 70 around dinner time, slowly falling off into the mid-60s and then toward morning into the low to mid-60s, with some areas outside the city falling into the 50s. But once again, we have the light winds, clearing skies, just enough low-level moisture in those cooling temperatures. We'll probably see some pretty dense fog develop again north and west of the city, very similar to yesterday. But once we get the sun up and going, we'll see that phase out and partly sunny skies again. Low temperatures right about 63 in the city, Newark as well, 58 in White Plains, 60 in Islip. These are above average for this time of year, and that's where we're going to end up for the afternoon, once again above average in the mid-70s.
Broadway is back, and even though COVID-19 is still affecting shows, this isn't the first time Broadway has faced a challenge to keep the lights on the Great White Way. New York Live takes us inside the documentary On Broadway.
If you think you know Broadway, think again. Today I'm meeting up with the director behind a new documentary to learn more of the secrets behind one of the most iconic theater districts in the world.
It's almost incomprehensible, the amount of talent that is on display in that one moment on Broadway.
Oren, I am so excited to be talking to you. The film is beautiful. For those who haven't seen it yet, tell me a little bit about it.
It's the story of how Broadway almost went out of business 50 years ago. And then what we'd follow in the film is the steps that it took to come back.
I am a big Broadway fan, and there was so much that I didn't know that I learned watching this. So if you don't mind, can you take me on a little tour and show me some things that you learned while making this?
Well, I'd love to. And this is the perfect place to start. So the fact that Broadway is even here is kind of a crazy coincidence of real estate. And the reason is that this neighborhood used to be where the horses and carriages were kept in New York. This was called the Longacre. The Winter Garden Theater, which is sort of the biggest crown jewel in the Schubert empire of theaters, was the horse exchange where people came and bought and sold horses. So there was a lot of real estate available when things switched over to cars around the turn of the century. So right behind us is where in 1895, Oscar Hammerstein built the first theater in this neighborhood.
What was it like for you to hear all of these beautiful romantic stories told from these celebrities' perspectives who have such close relationships with Broadway?
Well, the actors that we interviewed brought something entirely different to this story because they kind of carry with them the tradition of what Broadway is. And then also just, they're really good storytellers.
So Oren, what is the most surprising thing you learned during filming?
Part of the big success and the thing that's enabled Broadway to come back and be as popular as it is that it's found ways to more and more reflect what America's really like. And it's also become more and more diverse.
And it's just such a beautiful representation of Times Square of New York City and just dreams in general. So thank you for capturing all of that and for sharing all of this. This has been such a fun day.
What's up, choir kids? If you love to sing like me, then NBC4 wants to hear your best song.
Now's your chance to enter the NBC4 Star Choir, the holiday singing competition. Winners will perform on Christmas in Rockefeller Center. Go to NBCNewYork.com/choir and upload a video of your choir performing.
You could be a part of New York's biggest holiday show.
Star Choir, the holiday singing competition on NBC4 New York. Enter now.
And watch The Kelly Clarkson Show weekdays at 2.
While some homeowners wait until Christmas to deck their halls, people in Hawthorne, New Jersey spend all year counting down to Halloween. The decorations there rival professional haunted houses. And News 4's Adam Harding found one designer who creates all his ghouls and goblins by hand.
It's cool, right? Look at the Wolfman.
It's called the Summit Ave Cemetery.
Oh, wow, look at the skeleton.
And it'll stop you dead in your tracks.
That's cool. I love that.
A spooky Halloween display that's as much a crowd pleaser as it is one man's passion.
Believe it or not, it takes about a year to pull this whole thing off. It is certainly an impressive display, and about half of what you see here was all made by hand.
I love Halloween.
Sal Latrenta is the madman behind it all.
And all you would do is you would just apply.
He spends most of his free time in his basement, tinkering away.
So this is actually insulation foam you could buy at hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, stuff like that.
Building new sets to help haunt his neighbors.
People always ask me questions. It's like, how come, when I do mine, it doesn't look like yours, or how can I improve that? It's like, and I tell them the same thing. I'm like, look, it's Halloween decorations. I'm like, nothing has to be square, nothing has to be straight, nothing has to be clean.
It wasn't until COVID hit he began turning his love of horror into a fully realized dream.
It just comes from many, many horror movies that I've seen over the years.
Or in this case, a nightmare.
And you can add as many layers as you want.
And just how serious is Sal? He has a case of lifelike teeth for his custom creations. Talk about scary.
People come back 2, 3, 4 times out of the course of October, and they love it every time. It's small, it's simple, but yet we leave a mark.
I love it. I wish I could do half this stuff. The skeletons look so real.
The trick here, keep building.
I didn't want people to come here and be like, oh, I saw that at the other house that was just at. So I wanted people to be kind of like, oh, where can I get that? Well, you can't, I made it.
It's certainly proving to be a treat for anyone stopping by, with plenty of room to grow. In Hawthorne, I'm Adam Harding, News 4, New York.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on News 4 Now. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.